Once there lived a man named Sam in a small quiet village. He was a humble farmer struggling to make ends meet. He worked hard every day under a hot sun, but his farm didn't produce much. Every night, Sam would sit under a big old tree outside his small house and stare at the stars. He would whisper, "I wish I could be rich one day." He dreamt of having a big house, nice clothes, and plenty of food to eat. One night, as Sam whispered his wish to the stars, he saw a strange light in the sky. It was bright and colorful like a shooting star, but it didn't disappear. Instead, it grew bigger and bigger until it was right above his head. Sam felt a chill run down his spine. He had never seen anything like that before. He closed his eyes, thinking it was just a dream. But when he opened them, the light was gone and something felt different. Sam looked around and everything seemed normal. He shrugged and went inside to sleep, not knowing that his life was about to change forever. The next morning, Sam woke up to a surprise. There on his doorstep was a big shiny box. It was wrapped in gold paper with a red ribbon tied around it. Sam had never seen such a fancy box before. He looked around, but there was no one in sight who could have left this. Sam hesitated for a moment, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. Slowly, he untied the ribbon and opened the box. Inside, he found stacks and stacks of money, more than he had ever seen in his entire life. He couldn't believe his eyes. Was this a dream? He pinched himself and it hurt. It was real. Sam danced around with joy. He shouted, "I am rich, I am rich." Deep inside, he felt a strange feeling, a feeling he couldn't explain. With his new future, Sam's life changed quickly. He bought a huge house with many rooms, a shiny car, and new clothes. He no longer had to work on the farm. He could buy anything he wanted. The people in the village were amazed. Where did Sam get all this money? They whispered to each other. Did he find a treasure? Sam did not tell anyone about the mysterious box. He just smiled and enjoyed his new life. He hosted big parties and invited everyone in the village. They danced, ate, and laughed. But as the night grew darker, strange things began to happen. The lights went off, shadows moved on their own, and a cold wind swept through the house. Even though all the windows were closed, some guests felt uneasy and left early, whispering to each other about the strange feeling they got in Sam's new house. Sam tried to ignore these strange events, but he couldn't help but feel a shiver down his spine. So he tried to go back to sleep, but then he felt a cold touch on his shoulder. He jumped up, terrified, and turned on the lights. There was no one there. He searched the whole house, but he found nothing. Maybe it's just an imagination, Sam told himself, but deep inside he felt a growing fear. What was happening to him? Why were these strange things happening ever since he found the money? One night, as Sam was sleeping in his big new bed, he heard a noise, a soft whisper, like someone calling his name. "Sam, Sam!" He sat up quickly, his heart racing. "Who is there?" he called out, but there was no answer. The room was dark and silent. He thought it might be the wind, so he tried to go back to sleep. That night, Sam had a strange dream. He saw a dark forest with tall, twisted trees. He was running, but he didn't know why. He heard laughters, deep echoing laughters that chilled him to the bone. He saw a shadow figure with glowing eyes watching him from behind the tree. When Sam woke up, his heart was pounding. The dream felt so real. He looked around his room, half expecting to see the glowing eyes staring back at him, but everything seemed normal. Yet he couldn't shake off the fear that gripped him. Days passed, and the dreams continued every night. Sam found himself in that dark forest, running from the shadow figure. The laughter grew louder, and the glowing eyes seemed to get closer and closer. Sam was afraid to sleep, afraid of what he would see next. People in the village began to notice that Sam looked tired and worried. He had dark circles under his eyes and he seemed jumpy, always looking over his shoulder. An old woman in the village known for her wisdom approached Sam one day. "Sam," she said softly, "I have heard about your strange dreams. You must be careful. Not all gifts come without a price. Sometimes riches come with curses." Sam laughed nervously. "Oh, it's just a dream," he replied, trying to sound brave, but the old woman's words stayed in his mind. Could she be right? Was there a price to pay for his newfound wealth? One morning, Sam woke up to find that a large amount of money was missing. He searched everywhere, but it was gone. He was shocked. Who could have taken it? He wondered. He hired guards to watch over his house, but every night more and more money disappeared. No one saw anyone enter or leave. It was as if the money was vanishing into the air. The village people whispered that maybe Sam's money was cursed, and now the curse was taking it back. Sam tried to laugh it off, but he felt growing panic inside him. One night he saw the shadow figure from his dreams standing at the end of his hallway. It was tall with glowing eyes, just like in his nightmares. It didn't move or speak. It just stared at him. Sam's heart was racing. He wanted to run, but his legs felt heavy. "What do you want?" he shouted, his voice trembling. The figure stared, and then slowly it began to disappear into the darkness. Sam knew he could not ignore it anymore. Something was terribly wrong, and he needed to find out what it was. Desperate for answers, Sam went to the old woman in the village. He told her everything about the box, the money, the strange events, and the shadow figure. The old woman listened carefully. "You have been given a gift, Sam, but it is not a gift of kindness. It is a gift with a price. You must return it or suffer the consequences." "But how?" Sam asked, confused and scared. "You must go back where it began," the old woman said, her eyes serious. "Find the light you saw that night. Only then will you find the answer you seek." Sam decided to follow the old woman's advice. He went back to the big old tree where he had made his wish. He sat there under the stars and waited. Hours passed and nothing happened. Sam was beginning to lose hope when he saw the same strange light in the sky. It was bright and colorful, just like before. It grew bigger and bigger, and then it stopped right at his head. Sam felt a chill run down his spine, but he knew he had to be brave. "Please," he whispered, "I don't want the money anymore. I just want to be free." Suddenly, a voice filled the air. It was deep and echoing, like a thousand voices speaking at once. "You took what was not yours," it said. "Now you have to pay the price." Sam trembled with fear. "I didn't mean to take it," he cried. "I didn't know. Please take it back." The voice laughed, a cold sound. "It is too late for that, but there may be another way." The voice told Sam that if he wanted to be free, he must complete a task. He must give away all his riches to those in need and live a humble life once more. Sam agreed without hesitation. He gave away his money, his big house, and his fancy car. He returned to his small, simple life as a farmer. The villagers were surprised, but they were also touched by Sam's kindness. They helped him rebuild his farm and welcomed him back with open arms. Sam felt a strange sense of peace. The strange dream stopped, and the shadow figure never returned. He slept well for the first time in months. He was no longer rich, but he felt lighter and happier than he had ever been. He realized that true happiness didn't come from having money or fancy things, but it came from being kind, helping others, and living a simple life. Sam often thought about mysterious box and the strange things that had happened. He knew he would never forget it, but he was grateful for the lesson it had taught him. He learned that not all gifts are blessings, and sometimes the best things in life are not things at all. Months passed, and Sam's farm began to flourish once again. The villagers noticed that Sam was different now, wiser, kinder, and always willing to help those in need. He shared what little he had with his neighbors, always with a smile. People no longer whispered about the strange events. They talked about how Sam had become the most generous man in the village. One day while working on his farm, Sam found another small box buried in the ground. He felt his heart skip a beat. Was this another mysterious gift? Was it another trick? He hesitated for a moment, then carefully opened it. Inside, he found a single piece of paper with a message written in gold letters, "True riches come from within." Sam smiled and folded the paper carefully. He understood the meaning now. He had become true rich, not with money, but with things that mattered most: love, kindness, and wisdom. From that day on, Sam lived a simple, happy life. He had no more strange dreams, no more mysterious visitors. He knew that he was free and he was at peace. And every night under that big old tree, he would look up the stars, not to wish for wealth, but to whisper thank you. And so, the village remembered Sam not for his brief wealth, but for the lessons he taught them about what it truly means to be rich. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll leave you with a quote from Billy Graham. He once said, "Tell me what you think about money, and I will tell you what you think about God. For those two are closely related. A man's heart is closer to his wallet than anything else." I will leave you once again with this question: is your heart closer to God or money? Please, I request you, if you are new on this channel, kindly subscribe, comment, share, and like my videos. Thank you so much once again, and let us meet in my next story. I love you all.